This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, so we're testing out some new high technology pop filter, which is actually our socks. So if you notice a difference in the quality and there's less popping and smacking, you're welcome. Okay, so we were just talking about this before the podcast started, and I want to jump back in because I thought it was pretty interesting. So Hawkeye came out this week, and one thing I was saying was like, you don't really need to watch this one. Before we talk about it, because it's so bland that I don't think it. It did just start, but remember like Falcon Winter Soldier, how like there was so much nuance to it, and like it was about BLM and all that.
Sure.
So I feel like this one, if we watch it, it's more like I don't know how like where to hit it. You know those like movies where it's like, oh, that was nice. And then you're like, there's no substance to it, but it was just a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I feel like with this one. So I don't think there's any need for you to watch it before we talked about it. But I saw both episodes, and it seems like a interesting transition from the. Again, we keep bringing this up with Marvel, but from the old to the new. You know, like
yeah. Well, there's a new character, right?
A new character, yeah, which is Bishop. I forgot her first name is like right. Katie Bishop, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so it's weird because you know with like Hawkeye and like all of the characters in the beginning, like Tony Stark, there was like this massive backstory and like very intricate, very real world.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea of this is she saw there was like some battle. It was like the MCU battle with the. I forgot what movie it was, but remember they were coming from space and then they were all shooting that big battle. It was before Thanos came, and then that's what freaked out Tony. Remember, it was like in New York.
You mean the first Avenger?
I guess
movie?
Maybe it was the first Avengers. Yeah.
Where the aliens came?
Yeah, that one.
That was the first Avenger movie.
So yeah, I couldn't remember the order. So in that, she's like a little girl. And then she sees Hawkeye, and that inspires her to train in archery.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But she's like super rich, like a rich billionaire kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives her the ability to like, have resources, but also she has a lot of training in the martial arts because she's been training as a little kid.
Right.
The whole time she's won martial arts competitions and like archery competitions.
Okay.
And it's just like, it feels so perfect now, like very cookie cutter in a way that's like not appealing.
But is
yeah?
as an actual character, is that like
wait, is your headphone on? You hear that?
Yeah, I don't. That's not.
Oh, it's not you. All right. Anyways, sorry if you guys hear that. What were you saying?
Is she an actual, like, is that her actual character from the comics? Like,
yes.
That's the backstory for her?
Yeah. So I think that's the transition now that we're seeing in towards like, remember Teen Titans?
Yeah.
Although that's DC, but like in that zone where it's like so fantastical now. You know, everything is like, they fleshed out this world. Like, all right, so everything started with Tony, and then from there, an entire universe got built, and then now we're hitting these generations where like the kids that watch those superheroes, they start to follow in their footsteps on their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like not appealing because it's like, why is this so unrealistic? You know, who gave her training? Why is she so amazing right off the bat? Why does she know how to do everything? You know, she's like, oh, I've just been following you.
I don't.
You know
well,
what I mean? Like,
I get it. I get that, but I think because it seems like origin stories are done and over with now.
Yeah, right.
We've had that now.
Because like Hawkeye,
in the past,
Hawkeye was an agent with Black Widow, right? He's like a special agent, and they went on missions,
right?
So that makes sense. He has a lot of training and government funding, but like this girl on her own, she's like 21. Because he asked like, "How old are you?" And I think she said 21. And it's like you're on par with Hawkeye at this age. You know what I mean? Like you're making us buy into fantasy now. Whereas there was some reality in the beginning, reality merging into fantasy, but now I feel like Marvel's just full blown fantasy. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like we have like Doctor Strange like manipulating the multiverse and Spider-Man that's coming up, and like.
Well, I think you had to start with some realism. Like I guess I think I understand where like why, right? It's
totally,
like you kind of have to start grounded first to get to
build
bring
the
people,
audience.
to build the audience, to bring people in, and then because we know like there are lots of different things in Marvel.
Right,
so now
totally,
they're going into those other aspects that.
But you're right. It's an interesting foothold, starting with Iron Man, because like if you jumped into full blown superhero mode, like Batman in the very beginning, you're like, okay, this fantasy world already existed. But like they gradually brought us in by being like, no, this could happen in reality, and then it slowly got more and more fantastical to the point where now it's like full on fantasy.
Yeah.
Like there's no way a lot of this stuff would happen.
They've built a new world, right? In a sense, so where the Iron Man was the front of this idea of superheroes, and now that world is filled with superheroes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like, again, we said in the last podcast, but I feel like I'm like hopping off the train soon. It's very like wait till you see Hawkeye, you'll get what I mean. It's very like you can tell that he's grooming her to take over. Like not literally, like not like they have like a tumultuous relationship, right? Like
right.
Like the apprentice you never wanted.
But it seems like it's leading in that direction,
right?
Like,
and Jeremy Renner was also like, I don't want to. He's like when he started Hawkeye, he's like, who wants to see an old man in tights? Because he's like 40 or 50 at that time, and that's why they gave him like tactical suits. But it's sort of like now he's ready because he's got his other show, right? Like the Wind River or something, Yellow River.
Well, I don't know.
And it's like really popular. It's like Police Town. That's the interview I saw he was like promoting.
Oh, okay.
Not for Hawkeye. And he's doing more serious roles. He's always been a pretty serious actor. So like him becoming a superhero was kind of weird. Like it was a short departure.
I think one of the first ones I seen him was it
Hurt Locker?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now and then now he merged into this zone. Like I was watching his career thing on like his interview, and he was saying like he was always been an artsy kind of person.
Right.
So it's kind of weird, this odd departure towards like fantasy, but then you're seeing all of the original actors leaving, right? Like Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., Captain America left, Black Widow left.
Yeah.
They all have these established careers. And, Marvel really put them on like the main stage, and now they can do whatever they want. And it's kind of like you really feel this huge transition now happening through the series, not really the movies. Like the movies, it's weird how when you look at it, because it's like the TV series are like this underlying storyline that keeps going, and then movies are kind of like climactic moments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Like Shang-Chi, it's like a climactic moment, or like Eternals, climactic moment, stuff that they're like, we need everyone to focus on this one. But then if you really want to get the full storyline, watch the series, because like a lot of it ties back in.
But they're all their own individual series. They don't really, not directly connected to the new movies now, right? Like I remember there's a Shield show.
Okay, yeah.
And that Shield show did have some correlations to what was happening in the movies as well. Like when Hydra took over, it happened in the show.
Oh, it's okay. So then that's what I'm saying. So if you want
But there's nothing like directly connecting that to movies. They're individually.
Right. But it's like if you want the full story, watch the series. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't see how Hydra took over in the movies. Right. They just had taken over. Yeah. But if you want the full story, watch the series. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like that.
But But no, I don't think everybody was watching the series. They were more focused on movies, right? Like the movie was the big thing, but there was a show.
Right. But that was like people could go right? Into. And then I think they were testing the waters, and now they're full blown like. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the comics. I feel like they realize that the attention economy is taking over, and nobody reads anymore, right? When's the last time somebody's bought a comic? You know, maybe like the really old people, but the newer kids are all about watching things, right? Nobody's gonna read. So I think they made a smart marketing decision in doing these series because it's basically the exact same thing as the comics. Mm-hmm. Whereas like you have all these like miniature storylines going on at the same time. I feel like comics are gonna die out soon. I mean, they'll still be there, but all the focus is definitely on new media.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why. Why do you think Marvel and DC gone into these things? Because they know, right?
Yeah,
they have to shift wherever the market's going, right?
Totally, yeah.
So that's why they made the deal with Disney.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel like we're really watching a trend. People who don't really think about it, they'll just wake up one day and be like, "Oh, how did Marvel get here?" But it's like we're literally watching a transitionary moment right now.
Yeah. And it seems like a lot of the new people are young, right? Is that
like the actors?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are super. You were saying you knew the girl. I had no idea who this person was.
For Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Haley Steinfeld, I think that's her name.
Okay.
Sayfield or something? Yeah.
Is she an actual actor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She had a show on Apple TV Plus. I think she's done other things too.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah.
That's how I knew who she was. Yeah.
And it's interesting too, like the diversity in the casting now. Like the new Hawkeye's gonna be a girl. Captain America's this black dude. You know what I mean? Like they're really trying to make things more inclusive, more representative of the times that we're in.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you think about it, when Marvel started, they're an all white cast.
Yeah.
They actually are an all white cast. If you think about the Avengers, they're all white, except for. No one. Actually, I think they're all white, right? Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor.
Yeah.
There's no colored people.
That's the main, no.
Hawkeye. Who else? Vision.
Yeah.
Wanda.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so trippy.
Only like the Iron Man sidekick guy, but...
what's his name? War Machine.
Yeah.
You're right. Only War Machine. But like, okay, so you have a 90% Caucasian cast and a 1...
Even Spider-Man.
Even Spider-Man's white, yeah. So it's interesting now we're watching this transition towards more inclusivity and more representation. But at the same time, it's like we're also delving into straight fantasy.
Yeah.
So like I want to see it. I want to see this new world. But also I'm like not very intrigued by this new world. Mm-hmm. Especially if they like if you think about who the new ones are, like look at Eternals, completely diverse cast. Mm-hmm. Miles Morales, the new generation.
The new generation
is going to be extremely diverse. Shang-Chi, which is great. I mean, that's cool, but
nothing wrong with that.
But like, you guys got to pick up your storylines because what's going on? Anyways, anything else about Marvel before we move on?
No, that's it. I have to check it out though. But I'm waiting for more episodes.
It's good though. It's good. Oh no, sorry. What did I say before the podcast? It's not good. No, sorry. It's not bad, but it's not good. So because I was okay. Like, oh, it's good.
Is it okay?
It's better than okay.
Okay, all right.
Like the way they pace it, the action, but it feels so like hollow. That's what I mean by it's not good. It's just hollow. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that was like deep. There was like undertones of like BLM and stuff.
No, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was really good. I thought Loki was really good.
Loki's also
and
really
I
good.
thought WandaVision was really good too.
I didn't watch WandaVision.
No, it's just because how they paced the story was really good.
But no, all right. So I'm talking like or so if we talk superficial and like artsy, sure, but I mean like deep, so that's what makes it good to me. Like, is there multiple layers that different audiences can gravitate towards?
Yeah. I mean, I really
from.
liked how WandaVision did their thing too. It was
But
just
like in an artsy way, right? Like,
yeah, but I liked that though. That was good.
You liked it, but I couldn't even finish it.
Like doing the different
styles
of shows going through the 50s, 60s, 80s, whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, I have to see. I'll wait for more episodes before I watch
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
True. I've only seen 2. So.
I think I don't know if it's correct, but maybe there's only 6 episodes though. I don't know.
Oh, really? Oh, it's quite short. Apparently, it's supposed to end on Christmas. So, however many episodes that'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how they timed it. That's what he said in the interview. It's like the last one will be on Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so one more thing before we move on to our heavier topics. I saw House of Gucci. I know you didn't see it, but I just wanted to put this out there that it's really interesting how like fashion and marketing works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like why do we think of Gucci as a important brand? That's why I wanted to watch the movie, because I like the brand Gucci, right? But when you look at, so before the main guy died, so like the whole movie's about like the guy who owned Gucci and he got assassinated by his ex-wife. It was like more of an old person brand. Mm-hmm. You know, like all these people now, they're all about like Gucci Gang, and like all the rappers love Gucci and stuff. That's because it transitioned from being owned by the Gucci family, and they were all about like leather goods that lasted over time. And then they started hiring designers to get more like trendy, right? You know, you ever hear of Tom Ford?
No.
Like Jay-Z has a song called Tom Ford.
Okay.
So he's a very high-end fashion person.
Okay.
So he was actually one of the first people he was one of the first new designers for Gucci. And then he made his own brand. Like he made the name Gucci good, and then he left to start his own thing. But what I find interesting about it is like how a movie can totally shift perception. Because after watching the movie, I was like, "Ooh, do I like this brand anymore?" Because like you see all the infighting, and like at the end they're like, no Gucci family member is a part of the board right now, or they own anything.
Right.
Like you were talking about Rogers, like the infighting. If you watch Succession too, there's like a lot of like familial battles in business that we don't see. We just look at like the face value brand, you know. But there's a lot going on always.
Yeah.
You want to go into the Rogers thing? I don't actually know the.
Well, I don't know too much about it, but there was infighting and stuff. Like the one guy, like one of the Rogers got kicked out, but then he went through the BC courts and he was able to get back into the board, something like that. So it's like, yeah,
it's weird. Imagine like your entire family history built up a brand, and then you're
it's his own family also kicked him out too, right?
Really?
He was on the board as well.
That was also in Gucci. They had battles, like internal battles,
right? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's an argument over what did the original Rogers want, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there's something like that.
Yeah, you kind of see that also in the Gucci movie. It's like
the original
family,
vision, and then
exactly.
Well, the changes that the new guys want to bring in.
But then they're losing market share and they're losing money, so they have to like sell some of their shares to like Tiffany,
right?
The people that own Tiffany,
yeah.
And then I think Tiffany took over or something like that. So it's like it's very odd. Like we really don't realize what's going on at a deeper level for like consumer products, but a lot is moving behind the scenes. It's just weird to think about. Like, okay, so imagine if you owned like the Rogers brand, and then you see it being like used everywhere, and you're like, oh, it's becoming more famous, but you know the actual like infighting and the drama on the inside,
right?
You know, like I wonder what that's like to have a deeper layer of influence on society to the point that we all look like a silly herd. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like if you. All right, so I'll make it more personal to make it more tangible. But like when I used to work for Carlos, and then everyone comes like, oh my god, Carlos. But then I knew Carlos on a different level,
right.
And then I had like a different relationship with him, which is like. like I won't get into it. But,
of course.
But like watching their perception is interesting. That's why I always say like marketing matters, because there's like the superficial layer that everyone sees, like, oh my god, dude, you're world champion, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, but you don't really know what he's like, or like you don't know the goings on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're only good at it. That's why it's like you can't. They're just good as an actor. You don't know them as people.
That's what I mean. And it's like we look at the world so superficially, so weird to me. Like when you see the deeper layers,
Yeah.
Especially as you're a kid, everything's superficial because you don't understand how the world works. But then as you start to understand how the world works, you're like, oh no, this is actually kind of weird that everyone's following this thing. Like, why are things popular? Because it's like herd mentality.
Yeah.
Like what? Like why? Yeah, why do like when it comes to brands? Because the products they're no-brainers. Like technology, like Apple. Like why do you choose Apple over Samsung? It's no-brainer. Utility, right? But like if you look at like face value products, like
right,
Telus,
I understand. Like why? Right.
Or like Gucci and YSL, like
right.
They're just leather goods and they're just like technological services, but like we take everything for granted on that level, and we don't see like why Charmin versus I don't know, Royale in terms of toilet paper, right? You know what I mean? It's very interesting in terms of like commodity goods that people.
Well, I think
weird.
I think it depends. No, like when you said Charmin and Royal, I think that's a bit different because those are actual products, right? You can tell the difference.
You can, but like to a certain point.
But I think for like things like, no, but they're all giving a product. I guess only right. Even Gucci, it's a product too, right? You're
like
buying
physical, but they're both leather. You're really just buying the brand name,
right? But is it good leather?
They're basically identical. Like I have like a Gucci and a YSL right there. If you touch both of them, like which one's which, you won't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're literally the same.
I understand that.
I mean, the functions are different. Like the designs are different. That's why I like one brand over another. Like the way they're presenting their style. I guess like a better example is like Supremes. Like or no.
Okay. Supreme was a super.
Right, like
it was a pure marketing thing.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So like, or you have like Human Made, I think as it's called. Basically, it's like white tees sold by Pharrell Williams, but they're just white tees, but they're super expensive.
Yeah. And like, didn't Kanye do something like that too?
Yeah, see what I mean? It's like it's all brand perception.
Yeah, it's just the white tee. Yeah,
right. Like, and what's also interesting too? Even if you don't like something. All right, so for example, Krispy Kreme and Tim Hortons donuts, totally different, okay? But you can become brand loyal to something even though one tastes better. So Krispy Kreme arguably tastes better than Tim Hortons, but people are like, I'm going to buy from Tim Hortons because it's Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, so even on that level, brands like totally matter. Like the Charmin and the Royale, you're like, oh, I can feel the difference. But it's like, can you really feel the difference? Like, obviously there is a difference, obviously, but
I don't know if there are people necessarily that are people.
I don't even think
loyal to toilet paper like that.
No, for me, I think it's like this. Well, there's like tiers of toilet paper, right? So like you have like the top tiers who are always competing on price, right? It's like, oh, this one's on sale today, so I'll buy Royale instead of Charmin, right? But like the dollar store one, there's a stark difference. That's a different class of its own,
right?
You know what I mean? But I mean, if you're competing in the brand in the tier of that brand, in the tier of that product, like quality wise, it all comes down to branding. And it's interesting to me to see how branding is so superficial. We place so much emphasis on it. You know?
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. Like Succession. So interesting. The show, right? Because all that infighting, but it's just a TV, is a TV network or something, right? That they own? A news network?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a whole thing, but yeah. Not just TV, but yeah.
Right. And then like we're watching.
It's kind of actually what they represent is kind of like Fox News. I think that's a lot of the stuff is like, I don't say a lot of stuff is coming from there. Like I remember second season when they had the thing in front of the Senate or something, the Senate hearings or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
That was something happened to Rudolph Murdoch in the UK, who owns like Fox and all that stuff.
Interesting.
So that's like that was a real event kind of thing, where they're basing some of these ideas from.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. But it's it's interesting. It's like, but people are just watching the network.
Yeah.
And then
of course, people were like, they were just watching Fox News. They don't care about this because the whole Me Too stuff was started from like a lot of the
Fox News.
Yeah, like a lot of the people, the bombshell. Yeah. So it's like, but people weren't.
We didn't know. We didn't like. Do we even care? You're still watching Fox News. Sort of like gas price. It's sort of like everything. You know, like everyone's like, oh, green environment. This is why it's my biggest gripe with climate change, because people are like, oh, green environment, but it's like, but you're still using a gas car, right? So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we care as long as we're told to care.
Where did I hear that? I think it was on TikTok where I saw this thing where it was an Indian guy, but it was saying, like, it says like how North America spends less on emissions or something, or like uses less emissions, but per household you're using more than a person in India or China, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And also a lot of the products that you're getting, they're making it in China, so they're going to have higher emissions anyways,
right?
Because they're making your plastic stuff, whatever that you need.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's honestly like, if you really look at climate change, there's no way you're gonna fix this. No way. And like, why are you guys arguing over which emission is what? Like you just said,
and also what he was saying, which is funny, because it's like he was calling them bourgeois people, whereas like they're talking about the future, but there's people right now starving, right now don't have jobs. So that's what he's saying. Like they're trying to, these countries like India, China are making jobs for people right now who are, in lower income levels.
Right,
so it's
So it's really like Elysium, like there's this perfect place and then all the world is like, the lower level is struggling. The thing to break down that thing that you're saying, which I find super interesting, is like, you're saying that per household. So if you look at our houses, like we have 2 computers running. Tara's using one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens. Yeah. So the power outage that we're using, even though North America can claim that it has like statistically lower emissions as compared to other parts of the world, it's because we have a lower population. But per percentage of...
Per capita wise, we use more.
Exactly. And that's something people don't think about, right?
Yeah.
And then, so when we harp on like the emissions for other countries, and we're like, oh, you guys got to reduce your emissions, like we have more people, but how many billions of people are in India?
Yeah, billion over a billion probably.
And how many do we have in Canada? Like 700,000? How many?
5 million.
35 million?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm really bad with populations. 35 million to what billion, right? So
no, 1 billion. Over
1 billion to 35 million. So if we shifted that and every house in India was just like North America, then it would be astronomical. So it's like, you have to think of things like relative, like with the COVID thing, when they're like, oh, there's so many cases, blah, 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 like millions of cases, and like, yeah, but they have a 1 billion person population. Relative, it's not that bad, And then the other thing Lee said that I thought was really interesting is how we're using these products. So we have like 6 screens, right? But they're being produced in lower level countries like China. And in the production, it creates way more
emissions as well. Yeah.
If we shifted production to Canada, then the emissions would be really high here. But we don't shift it because of economic reasons. It's cheaper to do it in a different country. Yeah. See these like interwoven layers.
Things are not easy. Like things are not simple as black and white. It's not.
It's like a spider web, like you move one node and then everything shifts. It's like it gets felt throughout all of it. But we look at it like, stop driving a car. Like, okay, that's easier said than done.
Even David Suzuki got into some trouble.
Oh, why?
Because he said like,
hey, what's going on with the pipeline or whatever? Like,
something BC? Like that happened, and he's like, oh, people. He said that people will blow it up or something like that. But he shouldn't be saying things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he ended up apologizing for those phrases of wording, because you can't, when you're a person that people listen to, it's like when you use those words, you shouldn't be talking in that sense, because then people are going to actually might follow through and blow something up and people will die, right? So it's like,
wait, did he say that it would blow up?
No, he said that people are going to get mad. I'm paraphrasing, but people are going to get mad. I did hear it, but people are going to get mad or something, and then they will blow up the pipeline. Something in that sense. Like, it was implying that this might have, like, they might act like this or something like that.
Right. And which is not as we saw like in America with, you know, Trump's thing, and then stormed the Capitol, and like like little things move pretty far.
Exactly.
I just watched this Andy Stump thing. I didn't have time to post it yet, but I'm going to after this. But basically what he was saying is, when you talk about the wolf and the sheep, you know, that analogy, like beware the wolf, right? But he's like, no, really beware the sheep. Because if you know it's a wolf, then you're like, okay, it's a wolf. You can identify it. But if the wolf can convert the sheep into thinking that it's correct, then the whole herd is going to move in a way that's harder to stop than one individual. So he's the real fear is the herd, like the sheep, not actually the wolf. Because if you get like 2 billion sheep following a wolf, you know, but at least you know it's a wolf, right? Yeah. I thought this was interesting because it's like, on an individualistic level, we can't really make much change. We need to collectively come together, and then, but at the end of the day, who's the one shifting the perception of the sheep, you know? And then we just move to the loudest voice in the room. We don't critically think as sheep, right? Because sheep don't think. They're just okay, we're going to go in this direction. And that's the biggest danger, because like if society agrees, even if it's wrong, we have to do it. We saw that with like the Christian Crusades, the what else? Holocaust.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, just move the sheep in this direction. Yeah. Which is, interesting.
I mean, basically the Nazi Party, that happened in our time, in the last 100 years, right? So it's like,
sure. There's still people who are alive from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he convinced the whole population.
Yeah.
To act a certain way against
totally, yeah. And if we don't look into history and we don't examine our faults as a species, how we evolve into like something better, because this could happen again. You know, I'm sure there's stuff going on right now that, you know, 100 years from now they're going to write about and be like, oh, that was a bad move.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But only in hindsight, right?
Yeah, totally. You hear about this new variant? Did you, like, speaking of herd?
Yep.
Yeah. It's weird. So, like, if you distance yourself from the media, like, looking at it all the time, you don't really... My perception was, we're winning the battle, right? Because it's like, we all have our vaccines. They just approved all this other thing. Yeah. You know, and, like, the numbers are going down, but they're kind of going up and down. But then, like, I saw recently, like, all my social media feeds talking about this new variant in other countries. I'm like, okay, we're doing this again? You know what I mean? It's like...
See, there's a little... What do you understand about the new variant?
Nothing. I'm just like, why are you guys pumping the new variant
exactly.
now?
So this what's happening is also... we're only acting out of precaution. We actually don't know much about the new variant.
Oh, okay. So the headline that I saw was like, UN or WHO creates precautions over new variant. And
like, you're just acting out of precautions, right? But we actually don't have any idea if the new variant is highly infectious or deadly. We don't know.
See, that's what I mean. And
so I was listening to like the Canada thing, health stuff, when they were talking about the new rules they're going to put in for like stopping planes. So we have no direct
and stuff, right?
Yeah. So and setting certain rules for people coming from those countries, which is the right thing to do, just to act out of precaution. But she also said, Dr. Tam, I think, said, like, we also don't know everything about the variant. We don't know if it's highly infectious. We don't know if it's more deadly. We don't know.
Right. But that's not the rhetoric that's being pushed out across social.
Yeah, because the title you just see is new variant, and all you think about is,
and then they have like a picture
the worst
of
case
like
scenario.
Death. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, you just think of the worst case scenario, but it's not. Again, it's like that. The point of those headlines is to actually make you go and read the article, and then probably in the article it says that
Don't know anything about
We
it.
don't know everything about it. We
Right.
just know it's a variant. We don't know if it's highly infectious or deadly.
Right.
We don't know that.
Right. And I wonder if it's like we're hitting COVID exhaustion, because like even for myself, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God. You know, it's like how many other people are also feeling this, and then how many other people are getting more irritated over this. Because
see, like it affected the stocks. So
that's what I mean.
like because people are emotional. Oh, new variant, it's going to affect everything. So the stocks dropped. So it's like,
Yeah.
this is humans. This is how we're going to act. We're going to act emotionally.
It goes back to the sheep thing, because we're all like, okay, this is what we're being told. That's why it's like it's important to like distance yourself and like do your own further reading into how this stuff works, like you did, you know. But for me, I was just like, I'm COVID exhausted now. I'm just like, whatever. Like it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like really, what are we gonna do about it? Vaccines again? You know, the pill that they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the pill thing is, I mean, we have game changers, even more game changers. So if people do get sick, and we haven't approved it here, but it's in the UK. So the Merck pill is, again, a game changer of you surviving.
Oh, really?
COVID. Yeah.
Okay,
so it's
cool.
already it's like a small portion would be hospitalized, let's say.
Yeah.
But even in that percentage of people hospitalized, small percentage of that would die. But then now with the Merck pill, even smaller percentage would die.
Oh,
so it's like we've
totally. I agree, and it's like, why is that not the narrative we're pushing? You know what I mean? It's like because fear sells. Like we're going to fearmonger you, versus like positive, hopeful optimism.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I'm learning or hearing, or what I'm saying about these stuff is I'm getting from the radio.
Oh, okay.
So it's from the media.
Okay, but you're listening to what's it called? Talk radio. Yeah. But I mean, like, what is the, like, we're moving towards this is actually a pretty interesting segue, but the social media attention economy now, and it's like that's how we're disseminating our information. You're going towards talk radio, right?
Yeah.
But your talk radio is not even like, it's like a dual, it's a conversation. It's not like a one-way thing, right? It's not like the news. You're listening to conversations.
He's talking about generally, he's the only one talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talking about like what?
Well, he's the only one in on the mic kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So he's just giving his opinion?
No, he's reading the news. He's telling you about what's happening. He has interviews as well.
Okay, I've never heard your talk radio thing.
Yeah,
is it sort of like Destiny, kind of like that?
In some form, I guess, yeah. But then he's doing interviews too, right? They have interview segments. It's kind of like a news thing.
Okay.
Because if there's like certain latest stuff going on, then he's interviewing, could be politicians or other things like.
Okay. So let's go with that.
Or like doctors, actually interviewing doctors and stuff, their opinions on some.
So your traditional media sphere has to be vetted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, if you listen to Tristan Harris' newest podcast on Joe Rogan, I thought this was really interesting. There's algorithms now that can make things sound like humans. And like the Reddit feeds, like I was saying, like they have a full on conversation, and that conversation is it's actually fully generated by computers, right? And those conversations seem so real, but what they're trying to do is like sow dissent within the community, or like fear and like all that stuff, right? So if that's the case, we're seeing a toxicity within social media and like internet related news that you almost have to turn to the traditional forms of media to get like vetted real information now.
That's the thing, yeah, because everyone's their own news now, right?
Totally.
All these independent. I can
make a social media post saying like, "Oh, the new variant from blah blah blah," and then who's gonna vet it?
Yeah,
you know.
Right. Yeah,
but they'll believe it. It can like it can take off. That's what 4chan and Flat Earth. That's how that started, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
or QAnon.
QAnon, yeah.
Right, another thing. And there's stuff on the leftist side too. Like people who follow super left think that everybody thinks this way, or no.
Ooh, that's so interesting, actually, when you think about it, because when we started with traditional media, and then everyone started talking about social media and like how news in an instant, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we get up to the minute news, but we didn't realize it got hacked. Now we're reverting back to, it's almost like we went all the way left, then we went all the way right, and we're looking for like a middle ground now to see like.
Because the actual thing is in the middle ground, right?
Right, yeah, totally,
right. It's like talk about the primaries. It's like, oh, Bernie's gonna win.
Yeah.
But they're not that left. America is not that left.
Right.
It's not Bernie left. There are only certain states are like that.
Yeah.
That's why Joe Biden won. He's the one in the middle.
Right. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. True. Yeah.
Right. But all you can see on the internet, and because the internet is filled with young people, is that the world is going left.
You're right.
But it's not.
Yeah, if you really think about that, like it's like the internet is owned by leftists, like the majority of it, right? That's why you can be like blocked on, or like what do you call that? Like banned, you know?
Yeah. Right.
But if you listen to things that are not the internet, like real people, like the hugest ups, like you're saying like, oh, Bernie's gonna win, but it's like the leftist people own the internet basically, so of course they're gonna say that. But
yeah, that's all. It's gonna seem like that. Yeah.
But then the regular people, it's like the everyday, like the day-to-day people, they're actually not as left as it's. Again, we're going back to the illusions of marketing and branding. Yeah, I feel like that's such an important undertone towards like life in general, that like you have to pay attention to the marketing. Marketing being the medium of communication.
Yeah, again, I think we talked about it last week. It's just it's easy for us to just take in headlines than to read articles, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's the thing.
Totally agree. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we need speed. We need like speed of consumption.
Yeah.
So speaking
but,
of that,
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's our evolutionary issue, because
yeah, of course, yeah, that's how we survive, right?
Yeah. So the world is not meant, or the internet world is not suited for our evolution.
Up until we get Neuralink, and then we can get all the information at once.
Right. So yeah, once we get to that point, then we can start to settle things down. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So speaking of that as well, Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. Remember, so with the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, is his name
Kyle Rittenhouse?
Rittenhouse, yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse. That was like predominant in my news feed. And then somebody was like, I follow like other people like Enlightened Goku, and he was like, oh, how come nobody's talking about the Ghislaine Maxwell trial? I'm like, yeah, how come nobody is? So I guess like I fell for it too. So I asked you, and you're like, it didn't even start yet. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they were just doing, I thought it started too, but they were just doing jury selection, and then the actual opening statements start November 29th for that trial. Yeah, but also that trial can't be aired on TV.
So that's another thing. That's a very interesting point to make. So like the Kyle one, it could be aired because it's a state.
It's a state courthouse. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's a state one, you can film that. But if it's a federal one,
federal courthouses,
you cannot film.
There's no rulings for filming. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably why you're gonna get like no coverage, like media coverage.
No direct media coverage, but there will be articles about it, because I see where I'm getting information is from the articles, right?
Right.
And that's. But who's going to read the articles? So that's the thing.
Totally. Yes.
Since you can't watch the video, because you saw the video of him crying, or you know what I mean, like how those became.
But then there's no video of Ghislaine.
There's no video.
Like,
so how are they going to consume the information?
So that's really interesting to think about, because like, okay, so if we don't see videos of Ghislaine on our social media feed, we're like, oh, they're burying this story, they're hiding it.
There you go.
But it's like, no, legally we just cannot do it. But again, on a superficial level, we're looking at it like, a narrative similar to climate change. We're making these talking points about like, why is this not getting more media coverage? Why is this not the top of the news? Whatever. But it's like, no, there's a subsystem there that we don't fully understand. Like, it can't be filmed, like you were just saying, you know. And if we understood that, we'd be like, okay, that makes sense. but no, we're going to take one thing and explode it. And
right.
sensationalize it.
Yeah. We don't realize
conspiracy.
that. Yeah, not all courthouses are the same. There's federal, there's state, and state rules are different. Some of them have individual rules too. Probably some states you can't. Right. So it's like, but people don't know the nuances. They don't understand the nuances. They just think of like they're all the one same thing.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah. Like just like climate change.
Yeah.
It's like, if we just stop driving like gas cars, climate change would stop, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If we just use bikes, if we move to an electric grid, of course it would. But it's like, okay, but where does the power, like even the Tesla, right? It's like, okay, it does use electricity, but where does the electricity come from? Coal power, right? Majority of, right?
I don't think
grid?
Yeah, but I don't think it's coal power.
What was the
There's different nuclear.
No, remember that argument about like everyone's like, oh, if you just use a Tesla, we'd be using electricity, but it's like, but where's the electricity grid come from? Because you're still pulling some coal into. It's not a full green system, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Again, yeah, but I don't know if we still use coal here
or whatever the.
No, we have the different things, right? We have the hydro, we have nuclear power, we have these different things.
But what I mean is like when you dub a product fully green, like the perception is a green product, but it's like no. If you look at the actual production chain and all that, it's like it's not a fully green product,
Right. I understand.
But where does the plastic tires come from?
Right. Or even exactly. And I don't think, from my opinion, I don't think I went to Tesla because it's green.
No, of course.
Right.
The convenience, the technology.
Or even a lot of I would say a lot of even the Tesla people, it's because
it's a good product.
It's a good product.
Right. But that's the genius of Elon Musk. He's like,
but that's how you do it though, right?
Yeah. If you want real change, sell
like
the consumer.
In order to, if you want to shift towards that, sure. But you have to make a good product for me to go and get that, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So like yesterday, because now all restaurants I think they have to use paper straws.
Okay, they do.
That's a bad invention.
It is
because
so
paper straws.
bad.
Yeah, it's like you're stepping backwards. Like why?
You can't leave it
I had to
there.
ask the guy, "Do you have a plastic straw?" Because these paper straws are really bad.
No, but for real though, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you have to make if you're gonna make a change, it has to be for the better. But
totally.
The product has to be the same.
Yeah, totally.
Or better.
Like, or maybe like give us a metal straw but the reason why paper straws aren't good is because if you leave it in the drink for too long, it just shreds.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a part of your drink, and you're like, this is so gross. Like
exactly.
Maybe if I can use like what is the lifetime what is the lifetime of that product, right? If it's going to disintegrate in 5 minutes, so you have 5 minutes to drink your drink, you know what I mean? Or take out the paper straw and then put it back in when you're ready to drink. Like how does this
I was doing that last week. I was trying to get it out of the water and then out of the drink and then put it back in when I need a drink. But it was just like, this is so much work.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And what I heard about the plastic straw thing is that it was just because of marketing again. Yeah. So like they saw the turtle with the plastic thing on his nose, and it's like, okay, let's remove all plastic straws. It's like, okay, that was one incidence. Like, is this a freaking genocide of turtles because of the freaking straw? No, it was like one turtle, and now we're all freaking out. All right, let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say 1,000 turtles. Okay. I haven't seen 1,000 different pictures of the plastic straw turtles.
Is it plastic straws or is it like nets? Like what are we talking about here?
Yeah, right. But yeah. So, yeah, again, what is the story we're being fed, and then why is that driving our consumer decisions, like our societal decisions? Yeah, because it's so dumb with the paper straw. I totally agree. Like I was at the movie theater. And they gave me a paper straw. I was like, oh, come on. Yeah. Like, why is everything doing this now? Is McDonald's plastic straw still? I think so.
I don't know.
One of the last few places. Because they have branded straws. That's why I said that.
Oh, is that
It's like white and yellow.
I don't know. I don't get straws from McDonald's.
Oh. I think they're like white and yellow. I'm pretty sure they're like branded. It's like white and...
Maybe.
But I remember like A&W has paper straws.
Yeah. A lot of places have them now, and yeah.
It's like, why? And then they're selling you those like package straws that I bought some for my sister, but like
with the steel straws.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to bring it around with you.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, that's
like,
another
come
problem.
on, why am I bringing this around with me? And then you have like a little cleaner after you use it.
And you have
like,
to clean that.
Oh, come on, making it so much harder.
I don't mind having one, just leaving it in the house though. But like, not.
But why use a straw in the house? You know?
Right. Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, if you look at it as a whole, we're a very like confused species, like a herd. Like you can go back to the herd and the wolf, right? Like the sheep and the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're being directed in such weird ways. You were saying also the three white guys that got guilty.
Oh yeah, so that's a different case. I forgot his name, but originally the case, because there was no video footage at the first time, I guess, that they were off. The three white guys were off, like they were free basically.
Okay.
Then when the video came out, they saw what happened, and then that court case ended as well, just last week, which was they were all three were guilty of his murder.
Right. And did you see? I saw this as well. What was it? The guy that was in prison for like 40 years, something like that, and then he just got off, and then they had a GoFundMe. And the GoFundMe was like $1 million. It's like some black dude that got released. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was on the local news. I think it was on CNN, actually. No, yeah, CNN. And it's funny because if you look at those two incidences, how come they're not blowing up as like black justice? But like the Kyle thing, like the people I follow, right? Yeah. Like they're super pissed at the Kyle thing.
Yeah, and I was surprised that a lot of people didn't realize that he didn't kill black people.
The Kyle guy.
Kyle. Yeah. There were two white guys.
But all right. So again, this is confusing because it's like I get their plight because the comparison. They're like, if this was a black person, they'd be killed right away, or like they go to jail for life. You know, that was the
plight. Yeah, but then
Dale Hughley and
but like here this guy that died. All three white guys are now guilty, right?
Yeah.
So they're in prison, and then there was another case that didn't get noticed, where in the Breonna Taylor case, where the guy was shooting because they came in through his front door, he was shooting at them, but he didn't know it was cops.
Yeah.
So they didn't go to the court case because they realized what he did was self-defense. He didn't know there were cops, so they didn't even go to the case.
Yeah.
But that's not being talked about.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So it's like...
So here was a black guy who killed the cop, or not even kill a cop, he shot at cops, but they're not going to take this to court because they know he's going to win through self-defense.
Right. That's, like, all this being said, it's not to say that we don't believe in, like, the injustice that's going on within that community.
Sure.
Because, no, it's definitely, like... the Rodney King stuff and like on a day-to-day basis, like we don't know what that's like. And
I think there's other issues where you can say like they may not have good access to good defense.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. There's things like that where because of their circumstance, I can agree with these sort of things. Right.
Yeah.
Where I think even Kyle Rittenhouse said something like that because he did an interview with Tucker Carlson
and he's saying like a huge defense thing.
No, it's like I'm for BLM. He was only there because of they were riots. He doesn't care if you're doing a protest.
Okay.
They were rioting because the day before they were actually like buildings were being destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Like being burned down.
I have no idea about the story.
So that was what was happening. So he, I guess, acted along with his other people to try and defend property, right?
Oh, interesting. That's the story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then he killed some people, and then...
Yeah, whatever the commotion happened between that situation. But that was why he was there.
Okay.
Right, and they felt that the cops weren't doing enough to protect property.
Right. Okay.
Right, so that's fine, but as a protest, I think they kind of posted that too, where it's like they kind of... Well, that's good, at least he's saying that he's for the BLM, because vast majority of them those protests were peaceful protests.
Okay, yeah.
Right. In general concept, but there's the finer people that just want to create problems.
Right, yeah.
Right. They just want to create chaos.
Yeah, well, very true.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why they were there.
Even during the BLM riots, like the people who were in favor of it, they were posting like people like robbing stores, and they're like, "This is not what we should be doing."
Yeah, they were giving those, and they were like telling cops like, "This guy's not good. This guy's trying to do there was videos of that too." So it's yeah.
I feel like we're so inundated with information that we just don't even know how to ingest this information anymore. You know, like one day this side's saying this, the next day this side's saying this. It's like you really have to look at your own sphere of influence and just focus on what you can focus on. You know, like what am I going to do today to make myself better or enjoy my day? You know, like if it's halfway around the world, it's not going to have anything to do with you. You know, even if it's like our neighboring country, it's like that's them.
Yeah.
You know, is important to like support, sure, like totally.
Yep.
You know, positivity, good vibes all around, but at the same time, it's like, how much information can you actually pay attention to without just going crazy and thinking that everything's a problem?
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people do, you know, if they have nothing else going on, just like scrolling internet all day and being like, stop this, blah, blah, blah. You know, as like a keyboard warrior, right?
Yeah.
You don't actually have to like physically do anything. You just have to type a bit of lines or, you know, make a website.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And you feel like you're doing something because we're like physically we are very limited, but digitally we have access to so much. We're able to touch so much, you know? And where's the balance between realizing that there's too much in the digital space and then we need to reconnect to our physical reality where it's like, okay, around us is really all you can control. Your day-to-day interactions, you know? Like, it's all well and good to, like, post a lot of, like, I know I post, but, like, it's all well and good to post, like, things that are happening and, like, supporting things.
Yeah.
But, like, in your day-to-day interactions, what are you doing? Because that's what really matters most. Like, how you interact with somebody is going to reach far more on a on a deeper level than online,
right?
You know, which brings me to the final topic. The metaverse is coming, or it is also here. Watch that Wall Street Journal thing where she spent 24 hours in the metaverse, which is so crazy because you were saying that it's been like this for a while. But this video came out like November 12th, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Well,
so
it kind of makes sense because like when you're in the world of this gaming world, you kind of know, like you're in the like the new and stuff.
Wait, so let me set it up. So the metaverse is the whole Facebook thing where they're talking about building a world, basically the Matrix. They're building like a digital world.
Yeah, you're plugging in,
and you can use like the Oculus or whatever VR thing you want. So this news reporter, she spends 24 hours with like the headset on and like going about the world and seeing like what is this all about, like how does this affect her like life or whatever. And to somebody who's not in it, I was like, oh dude, this is crazy, just like she thought it was crazy, but you were saying like, oh no, that's been around for a while. And then even the video I showed you, you're like, oh, that's not even good graphics compared to what they have now. So she wasn't even in the like the legit world. You know. So go ahead.
So it was. I guess it's interesting to see because she's like a normie in a sense.
A normie, yeah.
Right, like if you're already in the gaming world, you kind of know some of these things. So it's how does a normie act? Or what do they think about this kind of world that people are doing? And like from what I see or seen on Twitch and stuff of this VR world, people like to be trolls.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know if she was showing anything like that.
No. Trolling.
Yeah. It's like you'd have to create like very specific groups, right?
Okay.
Or like rooms or communities to go in. But then that just means, again, it's like, are we going to fall into more of
like a vacuum of our information? Yeah, totally.
Which we kind of already see happening with the Twitters and stuff. And then are you going to see that happening in these these rooms as well.
I really wonder if it's going to be an ebb and flow of, like, right now this is what we're seeing, but I feel like there's going to be like a dip, and then people are going to leave digital space. So I say that from my own personal experience, because remember when we were younger and I would spend all my time playing video games, like you guys be playing outside like soccer or like whatever, and then you'd like call me out and be like, yeah, I'll be out in like 5 minutes. Remember that? And it would be like 10 hours later, or like not 10 hours, but like 3 hours later, you call me out and you're like, dude, what the hell? And I'm like, oh, sorry, I was customizing my character in this video game. I literally spent like hours just customizing my character. So like that was me as a kid. And like now, as I get older, I feel like this digital space is just something I did already. So now I'm like, because I wasn't really physically active too much as a kid, but then now I'm like super physically active because I'm like, oh, what is this world I missed out on, right? Like I spent most of my youth like in the cyber world, and then now I'm spending most of my adulthood in the physical world, right? And like, and like contrast to you, like I would say you spend more time like playing video games, but you were also not really privy to as many video games as me growing up, right? Like given our access, right? And but see the ebb and flow there. It's like I went from digital to physical. You went from physical to digital, and it's like I feel like right now we're in a digital peak, and then I feel like with the metaverse, I don't think it's gonna take on forever. Like I think it's like they're making
it's going to be hard to. I don't think so. Like
okay, so
like it's just
because the way they're making it sounds like this is our future, this world. I'm like, no, I don't. I think people get bored. So. They're like, oh, okay, I've been there, done that.
Yeah, but like I don't think most people like that, anyways. Like, there are a significant amount of people that want actual physical interaction with people.
Yeah, there's certain things you can't do digitally.
Yeah.
You know, like run, hike.
Like where
jiu-jitsu.
I don't think
like,
I don't think someone's gonna put on a VR headset and live like that. I think it has to be, in order for something like that to happen where everyone's sort of doing it, is you need to have AR stuff.
Yes,
where it's,
I agree. It's the balance.
It's the balance where you can live in the real world.
Yes,
you're moving around in the real world, but then also can hop in and then out.
100% agree. 100% agree. So I think that's so funny that ties into an earlier topic we just talked about by going like super left, then going super right, and then finding the middle. But I really feel that's what's going to happen because like okay, I'm not fully in the tech world and I'm not fully in the physical world. Like me personally right now, but I'm using things in both worlds, you know, and I'm trying to find like how can one support the other.
Right.
So like I went back to my Garmin watch, which is like tracking all my data. And like when you talk about augmented reality, that's basically like glasses that like give you information about the physical world. And I can see that happening. That's going to take off.
Yeah. I don't think it's VR. I think what is going to be the one taking over would be AR.
Yeah.
That's the
AR. Basically, if you don't know what AR is, it's augmented reality. And that is basically what they do is they take your physical world and they add digital additives to it. So like if you have glasses, it'll be like you can see digital things within the physical world through the medium of the glasses. So like my simplest explanation for it. But everyone's like the two camps, right? Everyone's like, oh, like I don't want to go digital ever, and then people are like, oh, I want screw digital. I want to go full on metaverse. And it's like that's both worlds are not going to.
Yeah,
I need both.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the rumors that I keep hearing, even with Apple, that they're working on something with AR.
Okay, cool.
Right, and they've been having these AR stuff on their phones for a long time now. So that might be the next 10 years where. I don't know if this is the rumors again. It's like, are we shifting from phone to AR, where we don't need a physical product, like you're just wearing like glasses, and then you're seeing all your information, but also seeing the real world, right?
Right.
So it's gonna be
prediction. Okay, prediction. I just thought of this as you were saying because I was like thinking about the because you're like phones with AR. If you download the IKEA app, you can test out. You can test out like furniture in your space before purchasing it. Like if you look through the phone, it'll actually seem like it sounds like wizardry magic, but like just download the IKEA app and then like you can see through your camera on the iPhone like a digital rendering within your physical world by looking at the camera, by looking at the screen, what the product would look like in your house.
Yeah, and you can move around that product. Move around.
As long as you're looking at the screen, it looks like the product's there.
Yeah.
You know? So that's basically AR.
Yeah.
What if, is my prediction, the merger is going to be art pieces, like NFTs, all that stuff, is going to be AR. So like you're
like in the AR world, in your AR world.
So you're gonna
I can see
have
that
a house with no artwork on the wall, but you put on your AR glasses, you have digital artwork everywhere. So
I think for me, I would probably like that more.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
like I'm a person that doesn't really care to put anything on the walls.
Yeah, totally.
But I think in a digital sense, yeah, I would agree with that. I think I would use that.
Yeah, but it makes sense, right? It's like
that makes sense.
That's how NFTs would survive. Because it's like, oh, look at my digital art piece on the wall. So like you go into somebody's house with AR glasses, like, wow, look at that.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, it'll probably show like original or something like that. Right? Yeah, but I can have like copies.
No copies, because it's an NFT. It's digital. You can't copy this. It'll only be in your house. It'll be only be.
No. I know. Right. But I'm saying like I don't think you can stop copies. What I mean by that is
like replicas,
you'll have a label where it's saying original. You know how like you get like a.
So sort of like Gucci originals and Gucci fakes.
Yeah. Something like that.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and then like only this one has that label.
Oh, so people walk up to your NFT.
Oh, you got the original, you know?
Or they're like, oh, this is a great replica. Yeah. You know? It's like, yeah, why are you gonna buy the originals? Yeah, no, I could see that. Yeah. Or it's like glowing yellow on the
or something.
Yeah. But that could be actually, now that we speak about it, that actually could be where we're headed. AR, because I could see that too. It's like. Because then you're not fully in either world. You're halfway.
Yeah. I do like the AR idea more.
I agree. I prefer that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But with the fear mongering that's going on right now about like the metaverse and like, it's not just fear, but it's also like hyping it up, because like the Meta company, like Zuckerberg, wants to make it sound like that's where we're headed in the future. It's like there's no way we're headed there. I couldn't see it. So like, because like even Joe Rogan was talking about it, and I had that vision as well, where it's like, if you basically live, I mean, some people will do this. You basically live.
Yeah, I think the options will be there, but I don't think everyone's going to do this.
The majority of people. These would be the weird outliers that like they basically make enough to eat, and then they go back to their house and they just live in like a 0-bedroom apartment. It's just like a little square.
Yeah.
You know, with a bathroom. Like a jail cell. Like you just put on your headset and you're living in this crazy world. That's true. I could see that. Like the obsessive ones. Which would be deemed unhealthy as well.
Yeah.
And then like the people that are anti-tech are like weird hippie renegades. You know? And then the regular people will have like AR Apple glasses.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Anything else before we? Actually, no. One last thing. Heavy Rain did call this, which I find really interesting, because remember when I posted about this too, but when we were younger, and remember that one scene, I was like, dude, this is gonna happen in the future.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the AR scene.
Yeah, that is the AR. That was like that was back in 2010. That was like the prediction, and it was crazy because like I was talking to the software engineers of a university, and I was like, what are you guys working on? And they're like, oh, this thing called augmented reality. I'm like, what is that? And they explained it to me, like whatever the screen is, you can like superimpose stuff onto it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's like, that was many years ago, and now we're starting to see it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, the tech has been there. It's just like, or the ideas or the starting of that stuff.
Yeah.
Started a long time ago. It's just now we have come to the point where, you know,
we've caught up technological wise. We can make it happen.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Yeah. But there's enough data or whatever, like to create now. Like now we have it on our phones. Next is to eventually just wear glasses.
Yeah, totally. Well, all right. So actually last thing, because you remind me of something. So speaking of having the tech to do it, what they're saying on the Joe Rogan podcast with Tristan Harris is the coding thing. Remember I told you, like, you don't even need to code anymore. You just tell the AI what you want it to do. You're like, if you're creating a video game, you're like, okay, darker blue. No, make it lighter. Make the character able to turn left. And you just like give commands because, and then this sounds like wizardry, but it makes logical sense because these are just functions that have been used. Actually, the best example is websites, right? They've moved from like coding to drag and drop.
Yeah.
It's become more intuitive. And you're like, well, how come they couldn't do this before? But it's because like you need to write the code. And then if you keep using the same code over and over, it's like, okay, let's just make this simpler. It's just a call.
It's more about
to that
finding
code.
solutions to problems. That's what we've been always doing, right? Like
And making them easier. And
making
like,
them easier for people. So coding was there, then in order to make it easier for other people, like you don't have to code anymore as much. It's just drag and drop.
Yeah,
right?
for the
build
websites.
Platform that can do that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So like I get that even for games. It's like we have a lot of these small games on our phones right now require a lot of coding, understanding.
Totally.
But then if Apple creates the thing like a program where they can just input through whatever you want to say by saying it, then it's just more better for them because then you're going to have more apps in the store,
right?
More games.
Totally. Yeah. So, there'd be more producers.
Yeah.
And then more producers creates more consumers. And you create a whole ecosystem and an economy.
Yeah.
It's a genius business model. Well, one thing that I find really interesting too, like speaking of convenience and making things easier, as an update to like my sign language thing, it's weird to me that I'm actually learning sign language from my phone. I just realized that yesterday because like I went through the alphabet now, so now I can like spell and I can hold conversations in sign language. But it tripped me out because I was like, nobody taught me this. This was an app on my phone,
right? Yeah.
Which is like the access to information is so plentiful. It's like that Matrix scene where he said like, I know Kung Fu. He just downloaded it, you know? It's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just downloading the data into my brain through the app.
Right.
You know? There's no classroom, no teacher. Like, that's so trippy. Yeah, the future is gonna be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That is all. Till next time. Is there any movies? No, not new movies.
I feel like there's no.
Just Spider-Man, right?
Just Spider-Man.
Okay, we're all just waiting for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lackluster.
Yeah.
Christmas, I guess.
Hawkeye.
All holiday. Yeah.
we got Hawkeye to look forward to.
Yeah, that's just a show. It's not a
I'm
movie.
just kidding. Yeah. All right. Till next time. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.